Hey, what's up? So we've got some more Garo today, but this time we've got a 90s issue. So this is the 1991 June issue of Garo. I have shown off 90s issues before on the channel, but never a dedicated video to it. So this one here is quite a thick one. I've got a lot of stories in here, but a lot of the stories are quite short as well, and some of them I won't be able to explain fully because I'm not too sure what is going on, but that's fine. So what we'll do is we'll just start off with, well, the very first chapter, of course, but the very first chapter is probably my favorite chapter out of this issue. So first of all, we've got a cover here by Maruo Suehiro, who is known for, of course, Midori or Shoujo Tsubaki, or Mr. Arashi's Amazing Freak Show, I think the name of it was. And the first story that we get, but yeah, I should point out all of these other stories here. So there's a lot of stories to go through. The first story is titled Hoichi the Earless, and it's not actually like a one-shot on its own. It's the final chapter of this series here. So I will explain what happens in the rest of the series, but just to know that what you're seeing here on screen is the final chapter of Hoichi the Earless. So what it is, the name, well, the story itself is like referencing the original folktale legend of the same name. So I'll explain what the original tale is. So Hoichi was a blind minstrel who played the biwa, which is like a Japanese instrument. He hears these voices by ghosts to play his biwa for them, and the whole time it's these ghosts dragging him off, but a priest comes in and saves him by painting his whole body with mantras so that the ghosts won't be able to touch him. But the thing is, he forgets to paint the mantras on the ears, so the ghosts rip Hoichi's ears off, which is very brutal. But Hoichi recovers and becomes a famous musician. So that's the original tale of the Hoichi the Earless legend or folk tale. The version that Maruo is telling here is that, so I'll just slowly flick through it while we go through. So this again is the last chapter of it. Hoichi starts getting voices from the dead asking him to sing for them, and it sort of torments him every day. So instead, he's not a minstrel, he's just a student. They cut off his ears, which is the same thing as what happens in the original folktale, and he is able to fully converse with the dead at this point, and he commits to it. So in this case, it's a sort of different ending altogether. And so we've got a very cool double page spread here for this depiction of the dead. And I believe we see this in like a art book of his. But here Hoichi does the opposite, and he commits to speaking with the dead, commits to his powers of conversing with them. Very cool artworks over here. This is where I guess the dead pushes him on to cut his ears off. Amazing imagery of all of them. There we go, we've got his ears cut off. But what happens is, after this, similar to Hoichi becomes a famous musician. Kind of the same with Hoichi here, but instead he's got like the music that he sings is not really for the people who are alive, but for those who are dead. You know, he gets thrown drinks at him, but he is satisfied because he is singing for the dead. So that was a pretty interesting one. It is collected, this full story is collected into one of his tankobon, one of Maruo's tankobon. I forgot which one it was, I'll find out. But really cool one, especially with all the double pages in here. Very detailed and intricate art. So yeah, that was the Maruo chapter. So let's continue on. This is a interview between Maruo and, I'm not sure who this person is, but I'll just move through it. Yeah, I believe this is from the what's it called? The paintings, 28 Scenes of Murder. Looks like it. Collaboration between him and Hanawa Kazuichi. National Kid, an advert for that. So the next story that we have is called Limonea, the first chapter by Ikuko Hatoyama, who appeared later in Garo. They still are publishing works to this day, I believe. They were definitely an axe. Some of their works have been translated slowly, not in English, but in other languages, maybe French, I believe. But they do more like drama or magical realism works. So this is the first chapter here. This is the only chapter I've read of this series, but what I can gather is that it's a story that will have to do with memory and reality. Maybe blending, not too sure. We've got these two boys here who I guess are close. But yeah, I mean, it's only the first chapter, so it's kind of hard to tell what will come out of it. But Hatoyama's art style and character designs are very nice as well. And yeah, so it just introduces us to the story, so I can't really explain what happens or what will happen, but that was Limonea, chapter 1. So the next one is something that I'll probably have to censor, because the next one is called Futanari by Morimoto Nobuyuki. So Morimoto, I've been waiting or looking for his tankobon for quite a while actually. And this is the first chapter I've read from him. So it's a story where our main character, what was her name? Chirori. They discover themselves to be a hermaphrodite. And that's pretty much the whole story. So, I guess everyone else discovers with them that they are a hermaphrodite, and I will have to censor that. And I guess it's just coming to terms with that. That's pretty much all it is. And very short chapter as well. We'll be seeing a lot of that in this issue. But yeah, Nobuyuki's works, I will try to find his tankobon one day. Very interested because I do love their art style. But yeah, those Futanari, which I believe just translates to hermaphrodite, like the Japanese, I mean. But yeah, next one, Village Prodigy by Abiko Marie. Never heard of this mangaka before either. Very weird, to be honest. I don't know where they got the idea for these stories, but sure. So we start off with these two boys here. One of them, whose name is Toru, he just loves to massage people. And that's kind of just the main thing from the story. Him just massaging people, his friend at least. The second story is the same two boys, but they just see a couple having sex. And that's about it. So, I don't know, I guess just stories about adolescence by Abiko Marie. Not too sure if it's like a continuing story at all, like if it's a series, but I don't really know anything about it. I've never heard of this mangaka before, so yeah, that's what happens in here at least. So the next one, we have a story by Nekojiru. Story by Nekojiru. No, art by Nekojiru, and the story by Yamano Hajime, who was Nekojiru's husband. So this one is titled A Snail's Life, a very morbid one, but kind of funny. Essentially, we just have the cats playing around with snails, but we get all the snails' thoughts as they die. So morbid, but I guess pretty funny with the way these cats go around. But yeah, as I show this, I watched the Cat Soup anime that was done after Nekojiru's death. Highly recommend that one if you really love strange, surreal movies that deal with like dreamscapes a lot. Very unique. So it wasn't actually done by Nekojiru. This is just like a homage to her after her her passing. So yeah, that was the snail's life chapter. Just cats doing their thing, killing animals, playing with their food, all that type of stuff. So next one here, very short one by Yamada Hanako, who did Heta Uma Works. I guess it's just a story about a kid who takes a lot of pets home. So brings a rat home, has brought other things home as well, and I guess his parents don't like it. Very short, only what, 4 pages. So yeah, doing the timestamps for this video will be very annoying. Actually, with any of like 80s onwards, just because it's just like double the amount of stories, but the stories are like halved in length. Doing the timestamps for these videos can be very annoying. But again, with if you ever read the descriptions, like I do highly recommend for you to read the descriptions of my videos as well. Sometimes like I will make corrections of what I say in the video. I might add extra resources. I put all of the Japanese names so that if you want to search up these mangaka, you can just copy and paste the kanji from the description into Google or whatever. So yeah, if you ever do want to look at any of these artists yourselves, just check the description. I think every video should have, or most videos should have, the Japanese, so you can just copy and paste and search for yourselves. But yeah, next one, artist here is QBB, just stories about childhood in 4-panel formats, which I personally don't really care too much about. QBB isn't my favorite mangaka, to be quite honest, so I will just skip through. I do believe QBB still does manga in acts. If they're not, they have done a bunch of chapters for acts. But we move on to the next chapter here by one of my favorite mangaka at the moment, Kanno Osamu. This one is titled Maboroshi, which means illusion. And it's a story, feels like a very pensive one, that is focusing about our main character, who's just this man here. His brother has gone to war, and also focuses on his dad and his spirit wandering about, who had also died in war as well. So this one's a very short chapter, but it's one that just doesn't really have a plot, focuses on the effects of war on family, and the last page of it is very strong. A very sad one as well. You can see a lot of the despair, where you have this transition to just like I guess a flashback visualized with all these soldiers coming through. So yeah, quite a sad one relating to war, but very strong chapter, I would think as well. But I might be biased because I do love Kanno Osamu. But yeah, so we're moving on. We've got not manga, but a photography collection, panorama art photo by Genki Numata. Never heard of them before, but we'll showcase them off. Personally, I'm not into photography right now. I say right now because maybe in the future I will get into it, but I don't know anything at all about the world of photography. It's not something I'm too interested in at the moment, but yeah, in later Garo they did add more photography sections as well. So if you're into that, then that's great. We've got a little section by focusing on Suge Yoshiharu here, relating to the man without talent. So let's continue onwards. There he is, more photos. Komoiden, Mizuki Shigeru. We've got an essay by Inuhiko Yomota. This one is, I don't remember the name of this mangaka, to be honest, but I guess a little info section by them. And so the next big chapter that we have is it's translated to something like Under the Full Bloom of the Nightmare Forest, which is a pretty cool title by a mangaka named Kotaro Okoshi, who I actually I believe I have read some one-shots beforehand of Okoshi's. In terms of whether I liked it, I wouldn't say I did, to be honest. In terms of this chapter though, this one was pretty interesting. It was hard to, I think the pacing and the plot progression was a little bit weird, but I'll just explain it anyways. So it's a story of a revenge, basically. Our main character is this boy here who lives in a sort of greenhouse, I guess, with his sister. He brings up a girl there because I think the girl likes him. But his sister is this person here who's got a deformed face, and they go into the backstory of how that happened, I believe. So bullying, pretty much. And I guess their whole thing is that the sister and the brother, to get revenge, they lure people up into their greenhouse. And got a pretty cool set of panels here. As they talk more and more, but what ends up happening is, I think the next day, oh yeah, no, here we go. This is where she's been like, something was put in her tea or something, and this is where it's all revealed what they'll do to her. She's pretty screwed up. But yeah, and it ends off with just, I believe the girl does die. They did kill her, or they did something to her. I don't remember exactly. Yeah, no, I don't remember exactly, but pretty much a revenge story. Interesting. Art style, I would say I do like. It reminds me of a couple of different things at once. The design of the girl reminds me of another manga. Let me pull out the book actually. This is by Sumeriko Hoshizono. And I don't know, sometimes the art reminds, like the girls remind me of Hoshizono's art. This is, oh man, this is on my shelf, been on my shelf for so long, but I really want to read this, but I'm just doing a thing where to get myself to read everything that I have, because I've got so many books that I haven't read. I'm just doing it one by one. I'm going through my shelves and taking books one by order, so that I'm forced to like, read the stuff that I have rather than just buy new books and only read the new books. I'm getting through all old stuff. So yeah, that was just a little tangent that I was just reminded of, just with their art styles. So we'll move on to the next one. This is called SF, Death by Hard Romance by Sugisaku J Tarou. And this one is I guess a gag. Yeah, it's kind of a gag chapter. So what has happened is that overpopulation has thinned the air, and the government have decided to kill off all of those who have large nostrils, because they're sucking all of the precious air. So one of the people with large nostrils, to prevent himself from dying, he goes to a friend to get surgery to turn into a vacuum cleaner to survive. But what happens is that here they are as the vacuum cleaner. They are at their friend's place, but their friend's partner comes back and uses the vacuum cleaner, and they suffocate and die. And by use, this is, you can see here, unless I censor it, I don't know. But what's happening is that the partner is using the vacuum cleaner to pleasure themselves, but they suffocate and die. So yeah, morbid, but there you go. That was the SF, Death by Hard Romance. What a name, to be honest. So let's continue on. Next one is Navel Sesame Flower by Migiwa Pan. Migiwa Pan was in Axe, I believe. Yes, they are. Oh, they're married to Sakabashida Imiri. This story I didn't really know what was going on, so I'll just sort of move through it. A lot of the next couple of stories I won't be able to explain, so I guess it'll just turn into more of a slideshow format for the next 10 minutes or so. Migiwa Pan was also in Axe as well. Put out some works in there. Maybe also in like the English Axe release too. Maybe. I'll have to check. This one is also a very interesting one. So this is originally in English, but this is a series called Little George's Ruolts over here, by Kevin Quigley. And when I searched their name up, it seems that Kevin Quigley is the person who collected the stories for Comics Underground Japan. So right now I'm still a bit confused of how and why they are in here, and I didn't even know they did cartoons or comics or manga in the first place. So that is pretty interesting. But here it's translated in Japanese, so I guess I do have to search up more about Quigley, because yeah, when I do search him up, it says he's I guess the curator for the Comics Underground Japan manga. So that's pretty cool, very interesting. We've got even more over here. All of these are in Japanese, and I guess these are like translations of different sayings from the comics. So very cool, very cool. Did not expect that there. So the next chapter we have is called Dameda Korea, which means like it's like this, nah, not this. It's a bit hard to translate for me, but by Maruyama Tamako. Never heard of this manga either, but it looks like this boy, his name is Sarao. He's bullied for looking like a saru, a monkey. So what he does is just he goes and gets all the monkeys and uses them to make an army and rebel. And that was that story. Two pages, very quick. So we'll kind of just speed run through the rest of them, because a lot of them in a row are either very short or I don't understand. This one is called Sky of Ryogoku by Yasumishi Hirofumi, I believe. I think that's how their name is pronounced. Looks like some sumo stuff. That's all I could get from it. Very funny faces, to be honest. And creepy sumo wrestlers. Interesting stuff. This one is, I actually like this one a lot. This one is Looking for Mugi. I think it's Mugi Sagashi by Hirose Katsuya. Again, I don't really have too much information on them. So this one's very cute actually, because it's a man over here. He goes on a trip to Saturn to find his cat. So here he is taking off. I think I really love this art style. It's very cute, simple, and we go back to the black ink as well. So it's like a really nice journey into space to just find their cat. Seems like their cat was out exploring, and there he is. Gets his cat back and walks home. Very cute. I think this is actually one of my favorite chapters out of the entire issue, just because of how simple but how calming it is as well. It's very cute and wholesome. Yeah, Looking for Mugi by Hirose Katsuya. I will look more into their works. Next one is Jam by Masahiro Hongo. This one, man, I had no idea what was going on here. Jam was definitely a thing in this chapter, but I don't know why it was a thing. Yeah. Next one, Japanese Brain Weather Book Complete Works Sample by Karasawa Naoki, which I have seen before. I have seen Karasawa Naoki before, but this specific chapter I didn't really know what it was about. Feels very non-fiction like, but that's what it was called. I do like that art style as well. Got a couple of adverts, essays, some of the sections here. I think this is called Tourist Information by Mochizuki Kashihiro. A lot of text here as well. Next one, I couldn't read this because this is a chapter 4 of the series. So this is by Kawasaki Yukio. I think it's like Neko Village or something, Cat Village something. If you've seen my previous Garo flip throughs on the 70s issues, you'll see that the art here is very different. Because, you know, Kawasaki in the 70s versus Kawasaki in the 90s, you can see how his art has changed. If you look back at the videos previously, a lot more, how would I describe it? A lot more detailed. I'm just figuring out how to, it feels more refined to me. Like the lines are more purposeful. Not that Kawasaki's previous art was bad. No, I think it's just different. That's all. It's just an evolution of their artwork over time. But I believe this was the manga that I wanted to collect, the tankobon version, which collects all the chapters. So I didn't want to spoil myself because this is a chapter 4. I wouldn't really know what's going on anyways, but this looks like a very interesting one. Next one is also a strange one. This is called Ghost Cybernetic Kid by Maruo Suehiro. Maruo Suehiro, from what I remember, does do these like more erotic, weirder, strange works, like eroguro works, I guess. Can't really explain what's going on here, but it is, at the end of the day, another continuation. It's a chapter 4. So I wouldn't really understand anyways if I tried, but interesting art. Interesting textures to each of the characters as well. But yeah. And the last one is called Future Sperm Brazil by, of course, you can guess, Takashi Nemoto. So let me just check if I can really show off anything here. Actually, not too bad. Not too bad. Not that I know what's going on anyways, but I was just looking out for the dicks. I don't think there are any in this. Heta-uma, of course. And yeah, that was the end of that. Oh, wait. I should point out who's who in here. Who we have? Katsuichi Nagai, Minami Shimbo, and I forgot their name. Actually, I'm not sure if I know them. Yeah, Katsuichi Nagai, one of the co-founders of Garo. Minami Shinbo was an editor for quite a while, I think in the 80s. And yeah, I got some other adverts for the last sections here. So yeah, 90s issues. Pretty interesting one. A lot of them very short chapters. Because of that, I think, I do love Garo as a whole, obviously, 100%. But if I were to choose my favorite decade so far, it'd still be probably the earlier decades, like 70s. Because I personally prefer if there were just longer chapters. A lot of these do have just like miniature 1-page, 2-page, 3-page chapters. But, it's just how it evolved to be towards the end of Garo. But yeah, hope you guys have enjoyed this one. We'll be putting out more Garo videos in the future as always. We'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.